yen nyina nim de ekoso e wo parliament between Bagbin and Afenyomakins and the NPP. But I can say FB4 no abu ndua e de go mo so mo ma yo ma dwen say nneoma na omo ye no emfa kwam che say enye mbra kwan so kra na emom no on person mu defend nneoma na ekoso na nneoma na omo ye e wo parliament. Assistant na de ni ba ko pe na ye NPP ni a wa admit say nneoma na omo ye e wo parliament no che say enye mbra kwan so kra no a e kenene Agyapong. After say a 7th no omo meeting a parliament house to say NPP for no omo say omo mba because NDC for akokwaje omo majority side no akotena no people ba ko ba bonten ebe kasa ya o kirem say nyoma no omo ye omo anya ade Kennedy Agyapong ba bonten be interview wo kirem say no omo ye meeting omo ye caucus meeting was say nkomo mbo speaker of parliament Bagbin amane but omo ntimi ambo Bagbin amane NDC for any Bagbin etwen omo for the past 1 hour na NPP for emba honum ebufuo nti Bagbin close down a meeting no bakere Agyapong kwa na ba bonten aba admit say nneoma na omo ye de che Bagbin no enye nra kwan so no ba me mu kasa de Ablakwa aba bonten abe fire na busan semben na Ablakwa kan de fasa ne ma we na asei malikbasintale TV so we ene de come channel so bo homa ne subscribe if ma nya botre na je wakonwa ne nhwe video ne ntie se Ablakwa kan de fasa ne ma we nyina ho.
Show me any wrong thing the speaker has done. The speaker duly complied with the constitutional provision, summoned the house upon receiving your notice and the signatures who had triggered the recall, came to the proceedings. We waited for you guys more than an hour. You never showed up. Afenyomakins should be apologizing to the speaker, not berating the speaker, not attacking the speaker, not mudslinging. And he should watch it, because some of us are beginning to discuss the way forward. He may soon be hauled before the Privileges Committee because he's not exempted. The fact that you are a leader of one side, does not exempt you from conduct which should be courteous and which should be proper. And you see, this business of not taking responsibility for your own conduct has to stop. It really has to stop. I mean, I am asking myself, if you look at all the crises in our country today, how is all of this back and forth, these Tom and Jerry games, this infantile posturing, the childishness? You won't come to the chamber, yet you're on the sidelines. When we step out, then you are going to pounce on us. We saw what Katie Hammond was doing. Then they're holding press conferences. So you were all around. I have heard the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong say, we're at the caucus meeting. But to be fair to Kennedy Agyapong, he was more sincere and honest. He said that he took responsibility that they should have informed the speaker that they were at the caucus meeting, so that probably the speaker will wait for them. So far, it's only Kennedy Agyapong, the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, who has been very mature, very honest, and truthful about their conduct, and has conceded that they didn't do right. They should have at least informed the speaker, informed the leadership on our side. You didn't do that. Then you are holding press conferences, berating the speaker, attacking us, calling us warlords who are on a warpath, who want to destroy democracy in Ghana. And I'm asking myself, all of these dishonest, infantile, childish games going on, how does it resolve the Galamsey crisis? How does it resolve the exchange rate crisis?
Clear something for me.
The exchange rate has exceeded 17 as we speak.
Clear something for me. And Nana, please take note. If you have some information to that effect, you can also help me when it's your turn. Now, what we've been discussing so far has to do with what happened yesterday.
Yes.
But I'm informed that prior to the sitting yesterday, there is a business committee.
Yes.
That sits.
Yes.
And decides on the business for that particular sitting.
Yes.
And then when they have done that, that is presented to the speaker.
Yes.
Like through the clerk or something.
Yes.
So that then becomes the business for which we would have the sitting.
Exactly.
Now I'm told that no such thing happened. The business committee never met.
True.
Whether on Wednesday or Tuesday or Monday or any other day. So the business committee never met.
Never met.
So in fact, if both sides had been in the house yesterday, there was actually no business before the house. How come? I mean, take us to, first of all, is that the parliamentary practice? That first of all, there ought to be a business committee meeting, and this business committee, because I saw Dr. Atufosin say that he even reached out to the other side to ask about all these things, and nothing about this business committee which should deal with what should be before Parliament came up.
Yes. So the standing orders are very clear. Standing Order 216, which I read, very clear, is a business committee that programs the business we will transact.
The business committee comprises of who?
It comprises of, under Order 2161, it comprises the leader of government business as chairperson, the minority leader as a ranking member, chief whips, and not more than 11 other members. And it's very clear under 2162A that their responsibility is to propose the business of each sitting and the order in which the business is taken. So they must meet before the plenary sits. Now, the Honorable Atufosin, seeing that the business committee has not met previous days, arrived in Parliament very early at 7 a.m. and started making calls to colleagues on the other side that, look, we'll have a crisis if at least we don't meet this morning, because there have been instances where on the day of sitting, they will meet quickly and then the order paper will be prepared. All his calls were not responsive. It tells us that they had just determined to boycott proceedings. And it's not clear if, in their calculation, they were thinking that probably the Speaker would not respond to the constitutional mandate of calling the sitting so that they could once again run to the Supreme Court and say that the Speaker is engaged in an unconstitutional. It's because you just can't believe what is going on. You have an obligation under Order 216 to attend the business committee meetings, to program the business for the day. Because you see, this is an emergency sitting where you are the one bringing the business, proposing the business to be transacted. You attached it to the signatories that you collected. So you must send it to the business committee, explain exactly what the issues are. Then it is programmed. And that is what the plenary will meet to discuss. So
let me ask you a question about your group. Last week, the Speaker was in court over the issue of the injunction on him to proceed with those things. He went to court.
Yes.
His lawyers were there. They argued their case. The Supreme Court affirmed its earlier decision. They threw out the Speaker. They affirmed the earlier decision, which is that the Speaker should stay off the issue of the 4 until the final determination of the matter. Why did your group go sit on the right side of the Speaker?
Because we are standing up against judicial tyranny. Those who are conversant with the history of this world would recognize that there are many, many instances that the things that we deride, we abhor today, where judicial pronouncements, take slavery, take apartheid. You had certain courts in our history affirming, superintending, legitimizing all of those horrible things. So we are standing up against judicial tyranny. We maintain that under Article 115 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court of Ghana has absolutely no business doing what it is doing. When you have the likes of Gaiwu, the NPP parliamentary candidate for Hope, who is now on the bench and engaged in political decisions, because when you look at the panel, he was there playing a key role. This is just pure, just pure politics, not judicial pronouncements that advance the cause of our constitutional democracy. So it's a protest, and we have every right That is why Speaker Bagbin was very, very clear. And please give me some time to read Speaker Bagbin's press conference. Speaker Bagbin, first of all, says that Parliament weakens itself when its members keep running to our courts to settle or seek favorable determinations of not just legal matters, but essentially political and governance questions. It is my strong belief the matter before the Supreme Court can be settled within Parliament through mature deliberations and compromises. Please make no mistake, not all the strong men President Obama warned us about come in military uniforms. Some come dressed in suits. I hope in my lifetime, Ghana shall have a parliament and a speaker who are truly independent from Jubilee or Flagstaff House or any headquarters in the conduct of parliamentary affairs. Let me state unequivocally, Parliament owes its duty to the people who established and elected its members to serve and represent them. The wheels of Parliament will continue to turn, and no person will be allowed to disrupt parliamentary proceedings or to undermine the democratic mandate of Parliament. When I ruled in January 2021 on the issue of which side constitutes majority and minority in Parliament, and the ruling was in favor of the majority group then, it was not an act of lawlessness as to cause constitutional crisis. When I ruled in the matter of the vacation of seats by Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, Honorable Henry Kote, and Honorable Sarah Joasafo, I remember that matter. You know, we had done the work, clearly seen the continuous absenteeism, no permission from the Speaker, and petitioned the Speaker. The Speaker ruled that they could stay on. The Speaker continues. It says that the question of the interpretation of the Constitution was not raised. When my predecessor declared the Formina seat vacant in 2020, applying the same provisions of Article 97, the original jurisdiction of Supreme Court to interpret and enforce provisions of the Constitution was not invoked. Peace reigned in these instances, and nobody cried and ran to the Supreme Court under the guise of constitutional interpretation. If I may ask, is it a legal matter for the Supreme Court to decide as to which side of the House constitute the majority or minority? It is for good reason that justice is said to be blind, and further that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done in all cases, not only in those cases to which some people appear to be sentimentally attached. Fellow Ghanaians, I respectfully call on the Supreme Court to apply the same swiftness with which the motion ex parte in the instant matter was granted to the case involving the President's refusal to receive the Human Rights and Family Values Bill passed by Parliament, which has been pending before the same court for almost a year without being heard. Ladies and gentlemen, consistency is not just an ideal, but the foundation of life. The court cannot enjoy 4 MPs from serving their constituents for 12 weeks, but was eager to deny the constituents of Asin North their representation because of the issue of allegiance. The court can deny the constituents of SAR, Santro Kofi Akpafu Lolobi and Lipe, the people of SAR. And we heard President Mahama a few days ago when he went there. The people of SAR. The court can deny the constituents of SAR the sanctity of representation for years. For years, Chachichi Kata was in court. 3 years after they told him they don't have jurisdiction. 3 years. This same court, this same judiciary, they can't be bothered. The people of SAR, they are not human beings. They are not citizens. They are not Ghanaians. The double standards, the hypocrisy. Let me read on. The court cannot even see that the Constitution itself permits a denial of representation within 3 months to the holding of a general election. Let me expatiate on this. You know that under the Constitution, if an MP dies today, and we've entered that phase today, 3 months.
If there's a vacancy.
3 months to election, or there's a vacancy, there will be no by-election.
Yes.
We wait. Yes. So that 3 months. So where from this bizarre claim that the Supreme Court can live with itself if there is no representation? Bizarre rulings. Ladies and gentlemen, the Parliament of Ghana shall commence sitting as by law prescribed from tomorrow, November 7, 2024. I have earlier instructed the clerk to Parliament to transmit the LGBTQ plus bill to the President for his assent. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, I am aware of the business the government wants to transact through Parliament, and I'm willing to collaborate with government. Despite all that I have said, Ghana first, and all Ghanaians should bear the President, Parliament, the Judicial, and all our leaders in prayer for the betterment of our people and country. Look, as Speaker Bagbin is saying, you can transact government business, it doesn't matter where you sit. I mean, if you look at our constitution, the constitution envisages many scenarios. Doc, you are aware that we can have one day an independent president. Don't we have independent presidential aspirants? If Alban or Cheddar or any of those independent people are to win, who are their MPs? They clearly don't stand a chance to have the kind of MPs that NDC, NPP will command. We must learn to work with them. That scenario is envisaged under our constitution and under our standing orders. You can have a minority government, indeed, but for the shenanigans of 2020, the arm twist